Welcome to IDD Talks. I'm Anastasia Lavrina. Today we have a special guest, Vice Rector and Director of Institute for Development and Diplomacy in Ada University, Mr. Fariz Ismailzade. Hello and welcome to our program.
Thank you for invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much that you find the time in your tough schedule to join IDD Talks. So I'm going to talk with you about the situation in the region, post-conflict development, restoration of the liberated lands, and the perspective for the future development and cooperation. So you know that President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, appointed Massim Mammadov as special representative of the President in Lachin district of the region. And in the conversation, the head of the state mentioned the new governance method, which will be applied not only on the liberated lands of Azerbaijan, but in the full republic as well. How do you see this new governance method? What can you tell us about that? And how it can help better to restore the Karabakh and East Zangezur and help us to integrate to the world community, I mean the liberated lands?
Thank you. Thank you very much for this question and for this invitation. Several times, actually, President Ilham Aliyev mentioned that some of the changes, reforms, and governance models that are being implemented in liberated territories of Karabakh might be the basis or foundation for future governance reform in the rest of the country as well, especially in regions of Azerbaijan outside of Baku. Currently, we have a system of regions, and each region is managed by head of executive committee. This is the model which has been existing from 1990s, early 1990s. But of course, the country is changing dynamically. Country needs some new reforms and new adaptations. So in liberated areas, President Aliyev appointed already 4 special representatives. And these special representatives have more power, more authority, and more autonomy in terms of local issues, local development, reconstruction projects, and also in liberated areas of Karabakh, there are a lot of questions and a lot of issues related to land reforms. So land reforms and big agro projects, agro farms. If this new model of governance proves to be successful and more efficient and more agile, linear, of course, this will be implemented in other parts of Azerbaijan as well in order to speed up regional reforms, regional development, to lower bureaucracy, to cut back some, let's say, bureaucratic problems, and to make the governance system more efficient.
You know what? It's very interesting what attracted my attention in the speech of the head of the state. He also referred to ecology. This is a key element, and not only on the liberated lands. We know that more than 3 months our eco activists actively participated on the Lachin road, requiring to stop ecological terror in the Karabakh region of Azerbaijan, where the Russian peacekeepers are temporarily located. So ecology is one of the key elements where AD University is also planning to be very active and already is very active. What can you tell us about this? Why this is so important for us?
Well, first of all, I want to say that in addition to massive amount of reconstruction works, infrastructure projects, and agricultural projects, also Karabakh is known for green ecology nowadays. President Aliyev has announced that liberated lands will be green areas where there will be zero net emissions, and there will be smart villages, smart cities with very efficient power systems and the type of production which will not hurt the environment. So when we say that Karabakh is kind of like a pilot area for governance issues, for economic development, we also mean it's a pilot area for ecological issues as well, to implement most modern technologies, to implement types of technologies and practices which are most ecologically friendly. And in this regard, of course, we should also keep in mind that the 30 years of Armenian occupation has left very bad impact on environment. Some rivers are polluted, some forests are cut down, and there was a big damage to forestry of Karabakh. There has been a lot of problems with mining, illegal mining, and in fact, Lachin road is now the center of attention because it was used for export and sale of mineral resources. I have personally been to Kalbajar, and I saw what has happened to Kalbajar Springs, fully destroyed, fully ruined. So Azerbaijan needs to restore these areas, needs to focus on environmental issues, and I would specifically mention that there's a lot of now plans to reconstruct hydro stations and other power stations which are running on renewable energy, solar panels in cooperation with BP, in some other Western companies. And Karabakh has a big potential for that, especially rivers have big potential for hydroelectric generation as well as solar energy.
Do you think that our international partners may decide to be more active in cooperation with Azerbaijan in this restoration process?
I think, yes, we already see many foreign companies interested to come to Karabakh, and not only foreign companies, but local companies doing reconstruction projects, opening joint ventures, opening production facilities. You know that in Agdam there is an industrial park which is already hosting many companies, and there will be big production facilities there. We also see many foreign companies that are interested to bring latest technology, hydro power generation, solar generation, including BP, which I mentioned, as there are many companies involved in urban planning and urban reconstruction. So we already see big trend in this regard,
especially taking into account the wish and intention of the European Union to have more cooperation with Azerbaijan in the green energy sphere. Coming back to the Lachen Road and the situation in the Karabakh region of Azerbaijan, we know that Azerbaijan is trying to integrate the ethnic Armenians living in Karabakh into Azerbaijani society, and we are open for that. The meeting with the participation of Member of Parliament Ramin Mammadov was held in Khojaly city, and if I'm not mistaken, the presidential administration already proposed two meetings to be held in Baku with a representative of ethnic Armenians, and two of them unfortunately were refused. What do you think about that?
Well, generally I would like to say that the message of peace and peaceful coexistence that Azerbaijan is sending after the end of Karabakh war is very remarkable message, because despite the 30 years of occupation, despite ethnic cleansing and the fact that we had 1 million refugees, still Azerbaijan is willing and is interested to close that chapter of history and to start a new chapter of peaceful coexistence, and to show Armenians that they can live peacefully in Azerbaijan just like many other minorities live, including Jews, Russians, Georgians, Lezgins, Talish. So Azerbaijan is a multi-ethnic country, and we do have good record of peaceful coexistence with Armenians. During Soviet times, many Armenians lived in Azerbaijan, and they never had any form of discrimination. So the Karabakh Armenians, nobody knows their exact number. Some people say 30,000, 35,000, 40,000, are welcome to be reintegrated into Azerbaijan. They are citizens of Azerbaijan with full rights and full responsibilities, and their safety will be provided and guaranteed by Constitution of Azerbaijan. So Azerbaijani Constitution treats all citizens as equal, and their safety and their rights will be guaranteed by Constitution, by our local municipality systems, by our local legislation. All of the instruments are there for them to be peacefully coexisted. Unfortunately, there are political forces that are against this peaceful cooperation. There are radical opposition in Armenia, there are diaspora groups, there are foreign powers, including some of our neighbors, that are against this peaceful model. But in my opinion, this is the only alternative we have. If we want to live in peace, if Armenia wants to develop, and if Armenia wants to integrate into regional economy, then this peaceful model of coexistence must be signed, must be approved, and Armenians should be integrated back into Azerbaijani sovereignty and Azerbaijani statehood.
But in any case, if ethnic Armenians will continue to deny any kind of proposal made by Azerbaijani side, do you think that Azerbaijan should propose any different approach to this situation?
I think that Azerbaijan is already showing that there are many opportunities for Armenians through economic development, through massive reconstruction and infrastructure projects. Armenians are seeing this, and in some instances Armenians are even showing interest to be affiliated with these developments. We saw how several times Armenian citizens approached Azerbaijani soldiers or Azerbaijani companies. They're interested to work for them, or they're interested to, let's say, collaborate. I think sooner or later, Armenian community in Karabakh, Armenian residents of Karabakh, they will understand that cooperation with Azerbaijan will bring them dividends, and sooner or later they will go for this model. And Azerbaijan has asked Armenian government and diaspora to stay away from this process and not to create obstacles for this.
Yeah, as Azerbaijani side mentioned, there are two different directions. The first is a peace agreement with Armenia, which can be discussed.
Bilaterally, yes.
Definitely. And the ethnic Armenians is an internal deal of Azerbaijani government. The relations between Armenia and Azerbaijan, we know that there is much talk about the possible signing of peace deal between two sides, but in the last stage, we still have Armenian state decide to go step back instead of go step forward. Do you think that there is a red line where two sides are ready already to sign any kind of agreement, or if no agreement, there can be any kind of different?
I think there's a general understanding in Armenia that 30 years of occupation has not brought any benefit to Republic of Armenia. Republic of Armenia has been isolated, economically marginalized, borders are closed, hostility with neighbors existing. And it also has not brought any positive dynamic or positive developments to the Karabakh Armenians themselves. We saw that lands were empty, lands were not developed, occupied lands were ruined, looted. Nothing positive has happened. So there's a general understanding that peace can bring dividends and benefits. There are parties and there are political forces that are against this peace, and they are creating obstacles. But I believe that if right conditions exist and all the foreign powers also support the peace process, then the peace agreement can be signed and a new chapter of cooperation can start between the two countries. Borders can open, communication lines, trade corridors can open. There are, of course, forces that are hindering this process. And I think right now, Prime Minister Pashinyan is still hesitating and trying to balance between the vision of peace as well as the obstacles and political, let's say, groups that are hostile to the peace process.
But talking about those forces who may be against the peace deal with Azerbaijan, how do you think they rely for? Do they expect to get any assistance from the abroad, from any other countries, or diaspora, which you already mentioned, which is quite active in some countries in the United States and France, for example? Do they expect that these forces may decide to come and help Armenia?
Well, Armenian society is a very special society in a sense that they often live with historical hatred, and this historical hatred does not allow them to see the benefits of cooperation and benefits of peace. They are very much past-focused rather than future-focused. So whereas Azerbaijan has really developed economy and regional energy projects and regional transportation projects in the last 30 years, Armenians and Armenian society mostly focused on historical animosity and historical hatred. And this is an ideological issue. For them, it makes Armenian society less rational, less pragmatic, and more emotional and more ideological. So the challenge is how to overcome this problem, how to overcome this extreme nationalism, extreme hatred, and to focus on pragmatic and rational benefits that peace can bring.
What do you think about the position of the United States of America? Because just recently, President Joe Biden sent a congratulatory letter to Azerbaijani leader Ilham Aliyev, where he said that United States reaffirms the support for sustainable peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan and ready to support two sides to find this peace finally. So how exactly the United States may decide to be more active in the region, and why do you think they can be interested to become more active?
Generally, I would say that there is a lot of pressure from Armenian diaspora in the United States, very strong diaspora on American government. But despite this pressure, despite these radical, let's say, messages, American government is interested to promote peace and cooperation between Armenia and Azerbaijan to prevent future wars, to prevent future escalation of the military activities, and to sign a peace deal which will be based on territorial integrity of both countries. So this is the vision that American government supports. Together with EU presidency, they're advocating strongly for this model of peace. As there are, of course, groups that are lobbying against this peace agreement, but US government has been supportive, and US government has also a lot of instruments in its hands, such as economic instruments, investments. American companies can come and work here. There's a lot of technology transfer which is possible from US, a lot of humanitarian assistance related to demining, related to return of IDPs. So US government as well as European Union, I put them together because so far their positions coincide, really can push the peace process forward and help the reconstruction of Karabakh. The only exception in this model is rather the position of President of France, who is openly hostile towards Azerbaijan, and he is advocating for narrow Armenian ethnic interests, because Armenian diaspora basically has been able to convince him. So, but other than that, US and European Union are fully engaged to help the countries, Azerbaijan and Armenia, sign the peace deal, reconstruct the areas, open the trade corridors, and make sure that Caucasus is a stable place.
You know what's interesting? Some experts from the European Union are saying that France is definitely a member of the European Union, but is a separate independent government, and Azerbaijan should build relations with the European Union as a whole. But as the head of the Azerbaijani government also mentioned, he said that the position of French government, especially its president, affect also the position of some members of European Parliament,
of course,
which leads to the adoption of biased European Parliament resolutions.
Very much. Well, France is one of the largest countries of European Union and also a very politically active country. They are well represented in many EU institutions. So, of course, France is lobbying and has a big power of influence. And a good example of that is not only resolutions in EU Parliament, but another good example is the monitoring mission that European Union sent to the border areas between Azerbaijan and Armenia. This was done heavily under the influence of French politicians and French government. So France is able to push certain decisions, but France should understand that they are working against peace, that this approach is not good because it just delays the resolution of Karabakh conflict and delays the peace prospects in the region. Instead, they should focus on convincing Armenia to sign the peace agreement and to sign the cooperation vision that President Aliyev has offered.
Let me ask you the final question about the Institute for Development and Diplomacy. This institute is quite young, but just some days ago it was the first anniversary of establishment. You are, as a director, how do you see the work of this institute, and what are the key elements of the future cooperation on the local and international level? Why do you think it can also contribute to the work of our diplomacy?
Thank you for this question. We have created 1 year ago IDD, Institute for Development and Diplomacy. This was supported and initiated by our rector, Hafiz Pashayev. He believes that Azerbaijan needs good policy research, needs opportunities for policy discussions, and also there's a vision to create a think tank which will be addressing urgent problems of the society. We'll be doing good research on foreign policy issues, security issues, environmental issues. So in fact, we specifically chose the word development and diplomacy so that we also focus not only on foreign affairs, but also on other issues of development, including sustainable development goals and regional development, etc. So Rector Pashayev has emboldened us and empowered us to work, and we are doing many publications, many research projects, many training projects, as well as many conferences to address regional and global issues in the directions that are most applicable for policy research.
Well, we wish you good luck. Thank you for your contribution to IDD Talks, and we hope to see more active work of the Institute for Development and Diplomacy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.